Good morning, here's K2EFG. I'm at my house, this is my garage, and what I'm going to attempt to do today is show you in as greatest detail as possible how do I assemble my Buddipole antenna for 20 meter. That's my typical band, and I usually use a Y-shaped configuration with the rotating arm kit, also known as a rack, R-A-K. With that, let's get right to work. I'll try to instruct you step by step on how I assemble Buddipole antennas. So I use a regular camera stand. I don't use the Buddipole stand. To that effect, I put some 1 pound weight. These are sand weight at the bottom, and I then extend the stand as far as I need to. I'm going to also show you how I put the head. This is the head. I bought this from Buddipole, and it sits on a regular broomstick end that I bought at Home Depot, Lowe's hardware store. I screwed this up here and here. It's very tight. I can't unscrew it now, and I will simply put this up on top here as so, and on here I will start assembling my antenna, my Buddipole antenna. Here is the kit. I will start with these here rotating arm kit. Notice that they come with these covers to protect them from opening up and being disassembled. I will start with those, as well as with this Versatile, which I use. I would like you to also notice that I use some tape or some cables or some ties in these holes. This is going to be used later on to guide the antenna, to secure the antenna from falling over, which is a real risk for Buddipole because it's somewhat unstable from a physical perspective. Notice that I have extra whips. That is because I actually have 2 antenna sets. Here's the Versatile. I'm going to apply it here on this round threading. Here we go. And that's going to be secure enough. And from here I'm going to take out one of the covers, like so, and I'm going to put it in here. In this case, I'm going to use just a vertical connection. I'm doing this with one hand, so some of my regular activities are going to be somewhat limited. Notice that they have little holes here, and this is how I secure it at a particular angle. I will start with the regular vertical angle, and I will then proceed with a Y-shaped antenna. Next, I'm going to consult the Buddipole tuning chart. Notice that I'm on 20 meter. I have 2 sides here on the 20 meter row. The first side talks about the red column, which means I'm going to use coils, and I'm going to have whips which are about 4.5 lengths long, and I'm going to use the tap at green, tapped at 10. Similarly, on the black coil, I will be using coils, and I will be using whips that are total sections are out at 6, and I'm going to tap at blue, which is 15 rounds. I'm going to take a look at this in a minute. This is going to be my black coil. Notice that it is tapped already at the blue coil in these tap mechanism, and I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to plug it in like so, and this is going to be my tap. So I'm going to do the same thing with the red, which is already pre-tapped at 15. At the red coil, here it goes, and this is going to be my coil. Next, I'm going to use the 2 arms. The 2 arms will go onto the rotating arm kit, and here it's important to know which side is which. So this side is going to be my black side, this side is going to be my red side, and I'm going to attempt to do this like this. I'm going to try to, and I'm going to assemble first the arm, and since this is going to be the black coil, I'm going to be taking the black coil side and put it into the arm. I'm going to repeat this experience with the red side arm. I can simply rotate this at this point, there's no significant, and I'm going to put the red side arm. Notice that this is the red side arm. Now I'm not using the Versity in all its ways. You can simply use it in an L shape whereby the screw is here. I'm simply using black and red here. This part became less relevant since I'm using the rotating arm kit. Before I got the rotating arm kit, I could also use an L shape and decide if I want to have an omnidirectional transmitter, which I use as red, and a single directional receiver, or vice versa. There's no significance to the color other than for color coding which one I'm transmitting on, commonly used for red, and which one I'm receiving on, commonly used for black. I can switch them around. Just in general, if the more horizontal the pole is, the more directional it is, the more vertical it is, the more multi-directional it is. Okay, just to review, the red side will be this coil tapped at the green tap and connected to the Versity on the red side. Again, the color is just it's just convention: red to transmit, black to receive. And here goes the black side going into the coil that is tapped for receiving. Again, all these settings are for 20 meters. You got to follow the settings for other frequencies and other bands. Next comes the question of putting the whips on. Notice that I'm using elongated whips because I also want to be able to use it for 40 meter. However, I have one short whip that I bought as part of my redundancy plan, and that short whip is going to be used to measure the length of the long whips. I can just use the short whip, which is 6 sections on the black side and 4.5 section on the red side, or can use the long whips and simply measure the length using the short whip. I'm going to try to do this with one hand and one hand on the camera, so that's going to be an interesting challenge going forward as a production. But I will. So here are the two whips. Notice the black whip is a long whip, but I only opened it up to the length of 4.5 sections. Here's the sections, count them: 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And the black whip is in the same length. This is going to be used for my red side, for my transmitting side, and I will install that. This is the red side, and I'm putting in the whip that I measured at 4.5 section. Again, those measurements are for 20 meter, and I will put that in, and this is measured at 4.5. Notice that there's those who are very technical will notice that there's a particular way of putting the whip in. I'm not focusing on that right now. I'm just trying to get something going. And now we're going to do the same thing with the black side, which is 6 sections long. So let's extend our silver measuring yard to be 6 section long. Here it goes. And now I'm going to measure the black coil to match it for 6 section long. Not yet, a little more. Here it goes. It is the same length. Now the black side is 6 section longs, and I will install that next into the black side. Notice that later on I might adjust those settings somewhat, because this is a manually tuned antenna. There's no tuner here to change the length of the antenna, and so I will be manually changing the length of the antenna. Here's a tip: sometimes change as much of half or quarter of an inch can make all the difference. This is particularly true when you deal with 40 meters, when you're going to be using the long whips almost to their fullest extent. Here's the antenna as assembled. You will see that this is pulling fairly physically. There's weight going on, which is why those weight countermeasures at the bottom of the lighting stand is very helpful. As it's going to rise up, this is going to mean that there's going to be some physical security that has to be addressed, and therefore the antenna has to be guided. Every good Buddipole user knows to guide the antenna well. These are the guides. You see there's little holes in here. I ran a cable and I use it as a permanent connection for a guide. The tip about the 40 meter is that if you're using 40 meter and you're using the full length of the long whips, you might want to decide which part of the band you're going to be using so you can tune it accordingly. 40 meter can be very sensitive, and therefore sometimes you might have to use the upper part of the band or the lower part of the band when using a Buddipole. So I'm going to make the electrical connection. This is the Buddipole supply cable. It actually has a ballon here, a small bunch of traps here that prevents it from being a completely unbalanced line. And I'm going to connect the black to the black, like so, and the red to the red, like so. And I'm going to also use this Velcro piece to provide additional security, physical security, so there's no stress on the cable. Here it goes, like so. I'm going to provide additional security as I go along. Notice that this is at this point about 6 foot above ground. That's roughly my height, and that's going to be the minimum height I'm going to use to tune the antenna and to make sure that it is right. I'm also next to a building, so I'm going to be removing it a little bit from the building just so there's no destruction. This is only a demonstration. It may not be ideal, but I'll see what I can do even in these subpar conditions. You're going to want to tune the antenna. This is an antenna tuner. It's a bit bulky. It's from MFJ. You can have others. You can have this one. No particular recommendation. This one works fine. I'm going to connect this to the Buddipole behind me and try to tune the antenna just basically on the current settings, which are very far from ideal. There's electrical wires around us. There's a house, the other things, and so we're going to try to tune the antenna now. Connect the antenna tuner to the antenna. This particular tuner requires quite a bit of batteries. I think it requires 12 batteries in the back. I've taken to the habit of turning it off every time I need to tune. Here you go, and quite amazingly, my SWR is at 14.2. It's exactly at 2. I think this is as good as I'm going to get in these conditions. However, what I'm going to try to do is figure out which length I should shorten and which side I should increase. Notice that I'm standing away from the antenna. I'm going to try to minimize the number of interference and reflective elements, including my own body, that will not be part of the measurement. Once I raise an antenna, and again, this situation is not ideal because I have power line right above me, but once I raise the antenna, SWR is expected to get down by something like 10%. Not knowing which direction I should shorten or lengthen the antenna, I have to remember the following principle. A wave is something that goes like this. This is my frequency, and the shorter the antenna length is, the quicker the wave is. So if I want to think about it, a high frequency is going to go fast, a low frequency is going to go in a low number of hops. So if I want to think about it like this from a wavelength perspective, and I want to try to lengthen or shorten the antenna to make the SWR, the standing wave ratio, lower or higher, I'm going to have to experiment. So for now, my hunch is that my red side is a little too long, which is why I'm getting a right on par performance, 2.0 SWR, but I'm going to try to do it, try to get to 1.7. So I'm going to shorten the antenna and see what happens to the Okay, so I've shown the antenna by about ½ an inch on the red side. This did not do much. In fact, it ever so slightly increased my SWR. Notice, of course, that I'm measuring it at 14,200, which is right in the middle of the band of 20 meter. That's a good place to do measurement. I have an extra license, so I can go up or down as much as I need to. This is roughly where I put it at 14,200, and I'm getting an SWR of 2, which means my direction of trying to tune manually the antenna by shortening it failed. I need to do the opposite direction. So instead of reducing it by ½ an inch, I'm going to increase it by ½ an inch and then another ½ an inch. In other words, a whole inch of increasing the length to making sure. Sure enough, here it is. I increased the length by about ½ an inch. I got just below 2.0 SWR. Let's see in which direction this is going. I'm at the top of the band at 14,300. It's about 2.0 SWR. At the bottom of the band at about 14,100. It's a little lower. I think I can get a little lower, and that's the kind of play that needs to happen when changing the length of the antenna. ½ an inch here, ½ an inch there, and that's all right. I increased it by another ¼ of an inch, and here's my SWR now at 14,200. Let me play around a little bit and try to bring it up to 300. It goes fairly high, and at the lower band it's actually going as much as 1.5. One of the reasons you're seeing movement here is because I'm in a very subpar position. There's electrical wires, there's the building, there's metal wires all around, there's metal objects all around. This is not ideal, but we're going to try to actually make a QSO with this. The next piece is to change the rotating arm kit to make it the required configuration. I like the Y-shaped antenna, so I'm very carefully I'm going to open this. I might actually close the camera just to do it, and I'm going to open these rotating arm kit like so. I'm going to take these the pins out, and I'm going to increase it to an angle that I am desired to have. I like the Y-shaped configuration. It's going to be at that angle. I'm going to take my hands off the camera, and I'm going to do it with 2 hands. This is a 2-hand job. Okay, here's the guy cable. I'm using it to match it here, and here I will attach the guy cable to these cables. I'm going to do it on both sides, and now I have a strong guy cable that can lead me to a strong physical location. I'm going to do this in 2 cables. I could theoretically guide in 3 spots or even 4, because I have these 4 locations. I don't need to do that. I find that practically 2 is enough. Okay, the antenna guys are in. Notice that they are loose. The reason they're loose is because I'm about to raise the antenna. As I raise the antenna, they will become tighter, but not enough. And then at the very end, to make it completely tight, I will move the entire operation ever so slightly to triangulate between this point that is a contact and this point that is a contact where the guys are connected to, and make the antenna have some stress. And this also depends on the direction of winds and also the slope of the mountain, whatever else factors that I might consider to secure the physical standing of the stand and the antenna that is on top of it. Okay, here's the antenna fully loaded right onto power line, so that's not going to be very safe to operate, but I just wanted to demonstrate. Here the guys, not that they're not very tight, they're just ever so slightly tight. This is designed to have some give in case there's wind. Again, the biggest risk is for those whips to fall on the ground and break. You can see in my previous kit that I already have some broken kits as well. I'm going to move the antenna a little closer away from the power lines, and I'm going to try to create a real opportunity for. All right, here's the antenna. I also secured the cable one more time just for stress relief. And here's the Buddipole battery that I'm using, and finally connected to the AT1857. This is 14,300. Let's see what we can do. First thing to do is to look at SWR as the radio sees it. Very good. I'm going to be having some QSOs now. Let me see what I can hunt. CQ, 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 CQ. Kilo 2 Echo, Florida Golf, stroke portable. Anyone, anywhere. CQ, 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 CQ. Kilowatt 2 Echo Florida Golf portable.
Okay, it sounds like you have at least reached North Carolina with this in these subpar conditions. I didn't break in, but I called my call sign in the middle of a QSO and they were able to hear me. I'm going to try to make that QSO count and then I'm going to be off to the races. This is Kilo 2 Echo Florida Golf showing you how to use and build a Buddipole antenna, which is right behind me there.
Creating a video on how to install a portable antenna, and I just wanted to check my antenna. This is Kilowatt 2 Echo Florida Germany stroke portable. How do you copy? Over.
I copy you fine. So where are you located?
I'm located in Fort Lee, New Jersey. I'm using a Buddipole antenna with 100 watts out of the FT857. May I have your call for the log, and apologies for the disruption. I just wanted to check in and see how my antenna is going, and you coming in here at 5.9 plus 30 or something. So I appreciate your courtesy. Back to you, Kilowatt 2 Echo Florida Golf stroke portable.
Kilowatt FLG. Anyway, yeah, my name is Mike, WD from GP. You're 5x5.
Okay, so I had one QSO, that was good. That proves the concept. I can work with the Buddipole from pretty much anywhere. I wish you all 73 and see you on the airways. Kilo 2 Echo Foxtrot Golf.